Okay, again, good evening, everyone. My name is Colonel Darren Palmer, the Chief Assistant Sheriff, and I welcome you to our 2018 5th Annual Purple Light Nights event. Please rise for the presentation of colors, the singing of our national anthem by Deputy Dion Best of the Alexandria Sheriff's Office, and a moment of prayer and reflection by Sergeant Eric Douglas. Uniformed members shall render a salute during the national anthem. Color Guard, present the colors.
Colors, forward, forward. Our time, our colors, oh, left, face, reset, on.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Hooray! Oh. Right, face, forward, march.
Let us pray. Father, we humble ourselves as we assemble before you today. We thank you for our leaders, Father, that they have put this program together, that it will benefit your children. The devil's trying to work. But Father, the information here today, we pray that it will go unhindered and unchecked by any demonic force. We thank you for those who are traveling here, Father. We pray for traveling grace and mercy upon them. And at the conclusion of this, Father, although we leave this place, Father, we pray that we never leave your sight. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. We enjoy and hope you enjoy holding this ceremony in our home community of Upper Marlboro. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce the town's top executive, Mayor Tonga Turner, for welcoming remarks.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of myself, Mayor for the Town of Upper Marlboro, the Board of Commissioners, Commissioner Wanda Leonard, Commissioner Linda Panor, we bring you greetings. Domestic violence is not just a silent killer, it is a violent killer, one of the leading causes of death in women across the nation. Make no mistake, domestic violence does not care about your color, your background, or ethnicity, nor does it take into consideration what's in your bank account or your educational affiliation. It does not distinguish in age or gender or sexual orientation. In other words, domestic violence can look like you or me. That is why it is so important for us to continue to bring awareness to this issue. Having said that, I'd like to thank Sheriff Melvin High and his office for ensuring each year we have this opportunity to come together, to remember the names, the faces, and the stories of so many victims. We must also continue to look towards the future, educating our young people, changing the future by providing resources for families of victims, ensuring that this crime is no longer an issue in our county. As the old African American proverb says, if you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go fast, go together. This month, the Town of Upper Marlboro stands with you in solidarity to bring awareness not just to this issue for the victims, but this issue across the nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Domestic violence has touched our next guest, a fact that reminds us that crime, this scourge and darkness, knows no boundaries. He has stood with us and this community in the fight against domestic violence, and I'm delighted he can join us tonight, Congressman Anthony Brown.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Colonel. How's everybody doing this evening? Good. How's everybody doing? Good, good. What a wonderful evening. It's not only beautiful weather, but when the community can get together around such an important cause, an important issue, as the mayor mentioned, and I want to thank the mayor for your service here in the hamlet of Upper Marlboro, the county seat, which we all are so proud of and take pride in this county. But what such a beautiful evening when we can all come together around an issue, as the mayor said, that knows no boundary. It doesn't discriminate regardless of race, ethnicity, nationality, gender, or income level. I know that firsthand. It was 10 years ago this August when my cousin Kathy, a 40-year-old school teacher, about to start the new year, welcoming her second grade class to schools, her second year teaching, and that weekend was shot and killed in front of 2 Montgomery County police officers by her estranged boyfriend. They in turn killed him. No parent certainly didn't think my uncle would have to bury my cousin, his daughter, to a senseless, tragic incident like that. But it can happen to any family, and that's why it's so important evenings like tonight, months like October, Domestic Violence Awareness Month. I want to thank Sheriff High, not only for bringing us together on this 5th annual event. I want to thank the men and women in the Sheriff's Department, your leadership. Chief Stawinski, thank you for your leadership, the men and women who put on the uniform in the Prince George County Police Department, the Upper Marlboro Police Department. I've seen the Park Service here, all the men and women who put on that uniform, because responding to a call, knowingly or unknowingly, that involves domestic violence is perhaps the most dangerous call that law enforcement will receive on any given day. And that's why it's important, again, that we come together as a community to raise the awareness. It's what we do to raise awareness in churches, in schools, among young people, those who have been victimized, those who observe domestic violence, who may themselves, as we've seen through the cycle, grow up and continue to be in that life of domestic violence. So this is an important evening that we come together. A lot of laws that we pass. In December, we're going to reauthorize the Violence Against Women Act on Capitol Hill. Provides a lot of funding for the good things that are happening here. I introduced a bill in Congress to expand the definition of domestic violence to include intimate partners, to make it a little bit easier for victims to get a protective order when it involves stalking, which is hard to believe, but in federal law, that's currently not the case. But all the laws that we could pass mean not so much if we're not doing everything we can to come together, working together, and raise that awareness. I know it's an important issue for each and every one of us. That's why we're here this evening. I want to acknowledge my good friend Aisha Braveboy, who's going to be our next state's attorney. This is an issue that has been important to her, that she's been championing in her years of public service. And as your representative in Congress, I look forward to working with you on these issues. God bless you.
Thank you, Congressman. Last Thursday, Senator Patrick Leahy said to Dr. Christine Ford during her testimony, he said, quote, "Bravery is contagious. There are millions of victims and survivors out there who've been inspired by your courage," end quote. Purple Light Nights celebrates bravery. Let's also be contagious. Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, friends, and neighbors, it is my enormous pleasure to welcome you to the 5th anniversary of the Purple Light Nights lighting ceremony. When our office, under the leadership of Sheriff Melvin High, launched this event in 2014, we had one simple goal. We wanted to raise awareness about domestic violence and its impact on the lives of individuals and families in our community. Beyond Purple Light Nights, we want to be a valuable partner in the fight against domestic violence. Our theme for this 5th anniversary is Great Things Happen When We Work Together. That is the tone set by the Baker administration, and it follows with all of you. When we reached out to you and asked you to join us in this fight, you did. When we asked you to shine a purple light bulb on your front porch or in your window every night in October to send a message that domestic violence has no place in our community, you did. You responded as you have always done. This is our celebration. The partners in this effort come from every sector in our community. And I want to recognize, and I'm sure I'm going to bypass people, but I want to recognize the county's Chief Administrative Officer, Mr. Majette. Thank you for being here. Deputy Chief Administrative Officer Betty Hager Francis, you will hear and see her again later on the stage. Thank you for being here. The Deputy Chief Administrative Officer for Public Safety, Mark McGall, is here. Thank you. The President of the Sheriff's Advisory Council, Helen Cordero, is here. We have so many people in the audience that have been fantastic partners. I just truly appreciate everybody's presence. But I also specifically want to recognize the members of our law enforcement community with whom we work on a daily basis. We know they don't do it for awards, but we want to recognize them for their actions to keep victims safe and for their continued support. Please give them all a round of applause. I also would like to recognize the elected officials or those who we appear to see leading in that course. Aisha Braveboy was already recognized, the Democratic nominee for State's Attorney in Prince George's County. Jolene Ivey is here, the Democratic nominee for the 5th District seat. And I know there are others, and I have done just a mediocre job of canvassing this. It's actually a little difficult with the purple lights here, but if there's a list someplace, we will make sure we recognize everybody. Those who have worked with us to protect and serve victims, support legislation that increases the protection for victims, and providing us the resources we need to be effective in this fight, they are here tonight. And as a side note, I would point out that it is a beautiful Monday night, and we know that you could have been at home or you could have been on the town instead of being here with us tonight. We're going to honor your presence as well, so that other than our keynote speaker, we have tried very hard to tell everybody, keep it to a limited amount so that we promptly recognize at 8 o'clock and light this town purple for Purple Light Nights. So we're moving on that path. Folks, I've known Sheriff Melvin High since 2003. I have had the distinct pleasure of working side by side with him since that time. I think the great leaders chart a pathway that people follow because they see it as the pathway to personal and professional success. Such a pathway, I know, is supposed to be complicated, and as the most difficult thing is the latest breakthrough in rocket science. That's simply not the Melvin C. High way. The Melvin Highway is that we serve at the pleasure of citizens. The work we do is the work of honor and trust. It is about the oaths we take, and it is about consistent constitutional policing and best practices policing. Working with him every day has been the high point of my career, and I am delighted to introduce our sheriff, Sheriff Melvin C. High.
Thank you, Colonel, and I will be extremely brief this evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
I want to certainly welcome everyone, old friends and new. Let me first thank all of you for being in and staying in this important fight against domestic violence. I know going to be a couple of little awards later. This 5th anniversary, we want to give out something we call a Purple Light Night Awards to people that have been strong in this effort to strengthen our community and every person in their resolve to address this issue of domestic violence. But I want to take a moment to just point to this banner here and to recognize Pepco as a strong partner and have been over the years. And they've made a lot of what we do possible. So tip my hat to Pepco. Certainly I recognize my police colleagues. I see Chief Stawinski up front. I saw a couple of the other chiefs from District Heights and Seat Pleasant here earlier. But to the chiefs and all my colleagues, thank you for the effort that you do and the men and women of your various departments do every day. Certainly I want to thank the men and women of the Sheriff's Office for the good work they do in making a difference in our community. And if you talk to any sheriff's deputy or police officer, certainly the chiefs, they will tell you that we've made tremendous strides under the Baker administration in terms of crime and violence in our community. One of the things that's happened in our community is that the domestic violence homicides have gone down year after year. And so I thank my colleagues and the leadership of Mr. Baker and all of our friends in his administration for the effort that we've all been able to make. Today, as you know, is the beginning of Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and that's why this 5th anniversary of the Purple Light Nights lighting ceremony is a celebration. Building awareness about domestic violence was exactly our goal. So this is a celebration of the progress we've made over many years, and our coming together as a community is proof that the concept of the village is true. Since my early childhood, I've been taught that human beings can solve any problem. And since my time in Prince George's County, I know that that's the Prince George's County way as well. When we set our sights on the problem, our eyes on the problem, and we chart a course that's clear and true, we will get to that solution. And so we made a plan to focus with laser precision on this thing, domestic violence, that plagues our community and families like it does the world over. But together, we decided that we could do at least a couple of powerful things to break the stranglehold of domestic violence. We would raise awareness by asking you to shine a tiny light bulb into the darkness where domestic violence thrives. And two, we would educate ourselves and our community. That's all Purple Light Nights was ever meant to be, an invitation to citizens to be in this fight with us and learn that help was available and where you could get it if you needed it for you or your family. So tonight, I want to thank County Executive Baker, his administration, our County Council, all of our partners, certainly our host city town of Upper Marlboro, and for the warm welcome they provide to us in the Sheriff's Office and a lot of our government every day. Thank you for your good partnership. So tonight, as I said, I want to thank County Executive Baker, his administration, all of our partners, and all of you for all of your willingness to not only talk, but to act. Tonight's awardees are just a few of the people and organizations who were champions in this fight. I won't belabor the point because we asked County Executive Baker to be our featured speaker and to take a few moments to take us back over the last 5 years or so, 8 years, of progress we've made on domestic violence in prevention, intervention, and response. And so I ask you to join with me in welcoming our county executive, my friend, a person that I've come to know and appreciate for his wisdom, his work ethic. You know, I get an opportunity to see his schedule every day, and he has a monster schedule. I thought I had it tough. But his work ethic and his friendship. So welcome, County Executive Rashawn Baker. Thank you.
But that is, on this night, you could be anywhere. But we are so pleased that you're here with us. Now, I could be anywhere because it is my youngest child's birthday tonight. And she wanted Daddy to be with her, actually to pay for dinner. So I gave her the money for dinner, she forgave me. But I didn't want to miss this night. This is the last time I will stand before you as your county executive on a very important cause. Purple Light Night. As Earl said, the theme of this year is great things happen when we work together. There couldn't be a more appropriate theme, for me at least, to end my time as county executive. Because that is exactly how we began our time. There are people who have been thanked, and I want to also thank them. Certainly, Chief Stawinski, who's right here with us. I know his colleague, Chief Barksdale, is in the back from our fire department. Certainly, our municipal and town police who have come together. Mark McGall, who started off as the Chief of Police and is now our public safety. And nothing could happen without Betty Hager Francis. They've all come together. And we actually built on the work that others had laid before us. You know, Jolene Ivey was introduced, who was the former delegate and chair of our House delegation and soon to be councilwoman. But her husband, Glenn Ivey, started speaking out as state's attorney on how important it is for awareness and prevention, and for us, especially in the African American community and Latino community, to be more vocal, to break the silence. That mantle was picked up by Angela Alsobrooks as state's attorney. And I have no doubt that our next great state's attorney, Aisha Brayboy, would do the same. Now, when we started out the administration, as the sheriff said, some 8 years ago, which seems like to me 20 years ago, because As I like to say to people during this last tour, my hair was black. I was a lot thinner. I was actually a good-looking person once in my life. But when we came on together, we saw that our homicide rates in Prince George's County were actually rising. Now, everybody could have went to their corners because the sheriff is elected countywide. The state's attorney is elected countywide. They all could have pointed fingers, but they didn't. We saw the crisis and we came together. 8 years later, we are on a course to have our homicides in the county under 80. We're at a 30% low in homicides as of today. Knock on wood. That deserves a round of applause. So how do we get there? We got there especially around domestic violence because we elected a man as sheriff who took this on as his single commitment. Not because he had been elected, but because of his life's work. Whether in the District of Columbia or whether in... I want to hear what you have to say. Okay, can you hear me? Thank you. Whether in the District of Columbia or Norfolk, Virginia, or as Chief of Police in Prince George's County, Melvin High understood and understands that we can't lower the homicide rates in Prince George's County unless we do something about domestic violence. It was the first meeting we had. A brand new county executive, a new sheriff, and I expected the conversation to be about, as they all were during those days, and as my good friend Angela Alsobrook will find out, about money. But the first thing that came out of the sheriff's mouth was, we've got to do something about domestic violence. Now, for his colleagues, in the sheriff's department, the second thing was about money, Darren. But it was about what can we do to stop it. And at the time, what we decided to do was not just invest in public safety, we did something very unusual. Thanks to Betty Francis and her team, whether it was social services, family service, and health department, we started investing in domestic violence, putting more dollars into trying to stop it. We also invested in getting the word out. This is so important because in order to break the silence, we have to get the word out. Because of that work, we were able to see a difference. And so I'd like to end tonight by thanking a man who has really dedicated himself to making it possible for us to not only shine a light, but to actually reduce the numbers. Now, one assault is one too many. Not having enough places to send people who are trying to move or get out of that situation is something we have to deal with in this county and will continue. But I want to thank Melvin High for making us not only aware, but really just carrying on this struggle and putting it front and center. But more importantly, as our theme says tonight, great things happen when we work together. Well, great things happen when you can put your ego aside. When you can come in and say, hey, if we all work together, we can make it better. For the last 8 years, I have not had a better partner than our sheriffs. And I say that without any reservation. I don't say it because he is here. I think if you ask Angela, she would say the same thing. whether it was at a cabinet meeting, an impromptu meeting, whether it was about anything, the sheriff was there, willing to roll up his sleeves to do whatever was necessary to move this county forward. One of the things that I feel really good about as I go into the greatest job, and that is private sector, is that I know that this county is going to be in great hands. Because I know our new county executive will have a great partner. I know that our new state's attorney will have a great partner. And I know that this fight to end domestic violence won't stop tonight and won't end with the Baker administration, but we'll have a strong advocate who will be in there working with our county council and our county executive and our state's attorney, our Congress and our federal people to make sure Prince George's County ends domestic violence. God bless you.
Mr. Baker, thank you very much for those comments. And I was going to lead the audience in a chorus of happy birthday to your daughter, but I won't. Just tell her we did. I would like to take a minute for a couple more recognitions. The clerk of the court, Cindy Harrison, is here with us tonight. And not only this night, but the work of the sheriff's office would not be possible without the lieutenant colonels who are here. Lieutenant Colonel Orlando Barnes, Lieutenant Colonel Mark Roccapriori, and Lieutenant Colonel Ron Terry. And of course, this event is carried out by work. So it's about setting the chairs up, about making the phone calls and organizing. Lieutenant Deck's squad and his leadership, I thank you. They came out and largely got the event ready tonight and provided the security. You are going to hear from Miss Sharon Taylor very shortly, our Director of Communications. She is the glue behind this event, but she is heavily supported, and most have been in contact with Corporal Dennis and Deputy Brooks. And if you have not directly spoken to him, they have taken your picture while you're here. So with that, let me introduce Miss Sharon Taylor, who is the leader of our Communications and Public Affairs Division. She is going to present to the awardees the Purple Light Bulb Award, and with that, I will also ask that our awardees come forward.
You're gonna stay? That would be great. If you're gonna stay, that would be great. So what's gonna happen? I'm gonna say something about the awardees, and you all are gonna come up and just take a picture with the awardees. And they're all gonna be right there. My folks are gonna be right down there taking pictures. Yeah, but it's not gonna be long. I mean, it's not gonna be long. Okay. Hello, everybody. We are on our way to 8:05, just as we promised. Thank you all for coming. I'm so happy to see everyone. All of our awardees are on the stage. Good evening. My name is Sharon Taylor. I work for Sheriff High, the Office of the Sheriff, and for all of you. Nothing is more important to me than seeing all of you here tonight. This is a movement. Like every movement, it's built brick by brick. The people and organizations who are our awardees tonight are metaphorically those bricks. Each of them has played a unique and important role in how we have advanced against this crime. As our awards read, they are people and organizations to whom we are grateful for their partnership, their support, and for their fearless leadership in shining a light in the darkness where domestic violence thrives. There is surely someone we miss this time, but the sheriff said absolutely no, you cannot give everybody present an award, Sharon. Let me tell you how we're going to proceed. Only one of our awardees will make remarks. After that, I'll tell you a little bit about each of our awardees as they are photographed with County Executive Baker, Sheriff High, Congressman Brown, Mayor Turner, and Colonel Palmer. When our awards are concluded, everyone on stage will lead us to the countdown to the ceremonial lighting ceremony. The first award is a super special one that I must single out. It is presented to Ms. Donna Cooper, President of Pepco Region, who is our presenting sponsor. I want to tell you that Pepco has been the presenting sponsor of this event since 2015. We all know that Pepco is a company as well known for its corporate citizenship as for its being an essential service provider in the region. When we first reached out to Pepco, they had no problem making the connection between domestic violence as a community issue and creating a safe workplace environment for its own employees. We have them to thank for thousands of purple light bulbs shining in windows and on porches all around Prince George's County. It is my great pleasure to introduce Ms. Donna Cooper, President of Pepco Region, after which we'll present the award and I'll ask our dais to come up and be photographed.
Thank you very much and good evening. Again, I wanted to underscore a message that I've heard sitting in the audience. And that message is really about the collective will of everyone in order to bring about change. When I think about Pepco, we are an entity that has been in this particular region for well over a century. But at the same time, wherein our core mission is to deliver safe, reliable, affordable, and sustainable energy, the reality is that we're a part of the communities that we do serve. And it takes entities such as our county and the leadership that's affiliated with our county government, such as Rashawn Baker, the leadership team of law enforcement, the prosecutors, and it takes all of these individuals and community members to truly bring about change and to elevate the attention to this issue that is so significant. Domestic violence, and I think our sheriff talked about it a few minutes ago, about the numbers and how it is really coming down. But the reality is there are so many individuals that continue to confront this issue, and that's what it's about. It's shining a light on it. It's about awareness because so many individuals do not even come forward. The statistics is about 50% of the individuals that are confronting domestic violence do not come forward. So that means that we have a lot more work to do. Also, there was a statement earlier that it does not discriminate because it does not, based on gender, based on race, based on economics. And the reality is 1 in 4 women, based on 2017 statistics, are subject to domestic violence. 1 in 7 men. So often we don't hear about men, and that's a reality. And something that I want to put front and center is 1.5 million youth in terms of individuals in our high schools who are being exposed to domestic violence. So they have to understand and be made aware how critical and important it is to be respected, to not be denigrated, and that it's not care when someone is tracking you, stalking you, or all over you consistently, but that is an alarm bell. So we have to continue to educate and to support. And I have been personally impacted by individuals that I have known who have lost their lives to domestic violence. It impacts families, it impacts children. So thank you to the county. Thank you to the leadership that is here on tonight that is shining a light and giving us an opportunity to just simply be a partner in this particular issue that is impacting our community so significantly. So thank you for everyone for all that you're doing, and we're committed to continuing to stand with you to eradicate this issue. Thank you.
The award is the first ever Purple Light Bulb Award. The next group of awardees are county and regional partners who represent everything that collaboration and partnership mean. The first of these goes to our state's attorney, Angela Also Brooks, who's been with us at this event every year since we began in 2014. I'm thinking she just might have a lot going on right now. Accepting on her behalf is Principal Deputy State's Attorney Donnell Turner. Ms. Also Brooks, Ms. Also Brooks has been a tireless and fearless champion against domestic violence as a key member of the criminal justice triumvirate that includes the state's attorney, the sheriff, and the Prince George's County Police Department to disband domestic violence in the courts through education and outreach and through legislative action that advances the legal protections for victims. Okay.
Thank you.
Judge Ada Clark Edwards leads the Domestic Violence Coordinating Council. The council is comprised of county, nonprofit, and faith-based partners who have a role and are engaged in this work against domestic violence. Under Judge Clark Edwards' leadership, the Domestic Violence Coordinating Council is a vital convener to keep partners connected and engaged with each other. Is this a little awkward? I'm sorry. No. You're doing a good job. Few people have played a greater leadership role in domestic violence, as the county executive said, than Ms. Betty Hager Francis, Deputy Chief Administrative Officer of Health, Human Services, and Education. It was Ms. Francis who saw the need to strengthen the 211 hotline. The county moved to make the Family Justice Center, and the county which moved to make the Family Justice Center a reality. Ms. Francis's team over at the Department of Family Services, Ms. Balan Butler, and our go-to partner, Ms. Jackie Roan, pioneered a tremendous education and awareness campaign, beginning with the Stop the Silence campaign, then the launch of the Momentum Conference to discuss, explore, and reveal the role of men in the fight against domestic violence, the development of the Red Flag modules that teaches the community how to recognize the signs of domestic violence, and a tremendous series of webinars about domestic violence, including titles such as Dating Violence. And on top of that, we got the first Capitol wheel lit up at National Harbor because of our friends, Ms. Francis, and our friends at Family Services. The wheel is lit tonight, and it'll be lit up every Friday this month and again on Monday, October 29th. Prince George's County Chief of Police, Hank Stawinski. Today, when people around the region think about Prince George's County Police Department and Chief of Police Hank Stawinski, they think about crime being down to multi-year lows and continuing in that direction, making this county a safer, more attractive place to live and work. Our partnership with Chief Stawinski and the department on domestic violence is rooted in responding to citizens and protecting victims.
Thank you, Hank.
we have one super big partner in this category, Elizabeth Betty Hewlett, Commissioner of Maryland National Parks and Planning Commissioner. Ms. Hewlett couldn't be with us tonight because of a budget planning meeting. All I can tell you is that Ms. Hewlett and the Commission have been steadfast partners. Each year, they've given us special access to this beautiful stage. We've worked together so well and so long, I think the team that handles the bandwagon looks forward to this event. So I'd like you to ask you to join me in thanking them, and Sheriff High is going to accept the award on behalf of Ms. Hewlett. The next two partners are special professional partners we wanted to recognize. Ms. Carolyn Mulligan is the Domestic Violence Coordinator of the University of Maryland Capital Region Health Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Center. The center has been great partners for years, innovators with great service capacity and keeping the message front and center with their annual Take Back the Night event. Years ago, when we started the Purple Nights Lights lighting ceremony, they were among the first facilities to light up what was then the Prince George's County Hospital Center. Our next awardee is a very special guest, Ms. Denise McCain. Denise McCain is the director of the Prince George's County Family Justice Center. The county waited a long time for this incredible facility, and its existence is consistent with our theme. Great things happen when we work together. An effort led by Judge Surratt, the Family Justice Center became a reality because the county executive, our county council, law enforcement, our health department, and family services made it happen. If you've not visited the Family Justice Center, I invite you to go see what a fantastic county resource the center is for families impacted by violence and sexual assault. We had one other corporate partner before PEPCO became our presenting partner. The Prince George's County chapter of the National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors. For well over 10 years, NAFA has partnered with us in the Teddy Bear Partnership with Colonel Palmer, donating hundreds of teddy bears to the Sheriff's Office. Gary Beal, who was the chapter president when their efforts starting, is accepting on behalf of Brandon Reichert and the association. The Teddy Bear Partnership, for those of you who may not know, is a very big little program. When our deputies encounter small children on the scene of domestic violence, those little ones are frightened and alone. So our deputies use those teddy bears to comfort and calm them. At that moment and in that setting, those teddy bears are something to hold on to. The next awardees are important to our countywide effort because they help broaden the reach of awareness because of their members and their constituencies, all of which have deep roots and commitment to this community. Marva Jo Camp is the chair of the Executive Committee of Leadership Prince George's County. Who doesn't know Marva Jo? Marva Jo and leadership understand that sharing information keeps all of us from being bystanders in our own lives and in the lives of friends and family. For at least 10 years, the only thing Marva Jo and the Executive Committee have asked members to bring to Leadership's Christmas party is a stuffed animal to donate to the Teddy Bear Partnership. Where people are working for a better Prince George's County, you'll find graduates of Leadership Prince George's County. Jennifer Dickens is the first vice president of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women of Prince George's County. She's accepting the Purple Light Bulb Award on behalf of President Theodosia Munford and the coalition. They have been a tremendous partner in addressing domestic violence because it is an issue so central to their mission to advocate for Black women and girls on any issues that affect their ability to be empowered. I remember talking with my friend Cassandra Freeman, who I believe was on the outreach committee. The next thing I knew, they were sending me fabulous pictures of 30 of their members holding up light bulbs. But they're not just talk. Last year, they followed this ceremony with a domestic violence panel discussion and a legislative day in Annapolis to advocate for sensible domestic violence-related legislation. Our thanks to them. The next two organizations need no introduction, related to service in the public's interest. The next awardee is Mr. McKinley Hayes of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity, Inc. Because of Mr. Hayes, the sheriff's role in family law and in domestic violence came to Mr. Hayes' attention and resulted in Kappa Alpha Psi joining our effort last year. Mr. Hayes continued to look for ways to get his members involved. This August, the Upper Marlboro Waldorf chapter, in partnership with the Fort Washington and Bowie Mitchellville alumni chapters, brought the sheriff a huge conference table full of teddy bears to become official members of the Teddy Bear Partnership. It's been our great pleasure working directly with Mr. Hayes because when the ideas get agreed upon, Mr. Hayes makes sure they happen. Our next awardee is Delta Sigma Theta Sorority. Ms. Tawanda Rooney is accepting the award for Delta Sigma Theta Sorority as co-chair of their Domestic Violence Committee with Ms. Ola Hill of the State's Attorney's Office. In their embrace of this effort to educate people about domestic violence, about the resources available in our community and where to get them, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority is, as always, responding to the growing needs of the community through passionate, unified commitment to public service. They have been huge supporters of this effort for several years, and trust me, they know how to give out purple light bulbs. We have one academic partner awardee. If you know Dr. Tricia Bent Goodley, you know we only need one. Dr. Bent Goodley is a professor of social work and the director of the doctoral program at Howard University School of Social Work.
There you go, the best.
Dr. Bent Goodley did an independent study of the Sheriff's Office domestic violence protocols years ago and called them a best practice model that she recommended be used countywide. Dr. Bent Goodley has been called upon for her knowledge, experience, and passion on this issue. We are so lucky to be able to call upon her expert and current advice. Finally, our final awardees are the people we're talking about when we say, sure, you can talk the talk, but can you walk the walk? They both can talk about our need to engage our whole community in the fight against domestic violence, but they also did something. Helen Cordero is the president of the Sheriff's Civic Advisory Board. We've known Helen for many years because she's always been involved in the community, and she also served on the advisory board at the police department. I'm so pleased that Ms. Cordero could join us, but I want you to know she didn't come here from home. Helen came from the Family Justice Center where she volunteers. Our last awardee, I wouldn't be surprised if everyone knew her because she's everywhere. Ms. Daisy Cherry Majette. Last year, Miss Daisy came by the office and picked up some purple light bulbs for her community, the Central Civic Association of the Wilborn community. She was giving bulbs to all her neighbors so they could light up for Domestic Violence Awareness Month. At least the ones who were current on their association dues. When Domestic Violence Awareness Month was over, Miss Daisy sent Sheriff High a hardcover book with pictures of the houses in her neighborhood that were lit up during the month. Miss Daisy never just talks. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, let's congratulate our awardees.
All right. We've already got everybody standing. I want to say very quickly, Helen pointed out that we're wearing badges that have the symbol for the awareness of domestic violence. And so everybody's got your wristbands, we've got lights, we've got purpleness, we've got these, and they weigh heavy on your heart, so they really matter over the course of the month. First, let me again thank all of our awardees, and everybody please give them a round of applause. Before we activate the purple lights, I will ask that everybody stand for a brief moment of silence. There's plenty to remember, there is plenty to pray for, and there is plenty of work to do. Thank you. Now, if I can get everyone to join me, we're going to count backwards from 10 to this lighting ceremony. Do it out loud. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ladies, gentlemen, friends, partners, thank you all very much for coming. Be courageous and shine your purple light. Have a wonderful evening.